Before we get to our show, here is a podcast we think you're going to love.
Take Up Space podcast is where we discuss self-awareness and growth while learning to advocate for ourselves. There are many instances where we shrink ourselves to make the people in our world feel comfortable at the expense of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and voice. Join us every Tuesday on YouTube and wherever podcasts are found for new episodes. We also go live on Facebook and YouTube on Thursdays. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Take Up Space Pod for more info. That's Take Up Space POD. Thanks for listening.
All right, we barely remember how to record, and we're here for Perhaps It's You, your favorite Unsolved Mysteries rewatch podcast. I'm Liz.
I'm Samantha.
And somewhere out there is BD Wong, being handsome as ever. Hello, BD Wong.
Hopefully listening. Hi, BD Wong. This episode and every episode is dedicated to you.
Absolutely. Does that have anything to do with anything? No, and we like it that way.
Well, we did a few Patreon episodes, BD Wong
That's
specific,
true.
but also
That's
Unsolved
true.
Mysteries adjacent. So I feel like it is part of our brand at this point.
You're absolutely right, Samantha. I'm sorry I disparaged this fine podcast, which is definitely very well thought out. And
BD Wong thirst is within our brand.
Yeah, we should make maybe like a Venn diagram of the things that are our brand. And it would definitely include BD Wong thirst, talking about Mothman's booty. Some things you might not expect from Unsolved
a lot
Mysteries.
of things you might not expect.
Polar water. I definitely had French toast sticks for breakfast today, so that's on brand.
Yes. We've done that. We've eaten French toast sticks on the podcast before.
Yeah, it's sad that we're in a trash garbage country known as the United States of America. So Samantha and I are still not recording together, and I don't like it.
That's the worst.
I'm sitting here in my sort of dining room that I never eat in, the podcasting room, by myself, talking to myself, looking out the window by myself. Not my favorite.
No,
Not my favorite.
I wish we were drinking polar floats and
I saw that
season 6 in your podcasting dining room.
I just saw that there was some big party in Australia because they haven't had a case of coronavirus in like 8 months. Yeah.
I feel like that kid inside in the window just longingly sadly looking outside. Everyone's like playing Red Rover.
Or in like every Steven Spielberg movie, there's a scene where like the person comes home and sees like a really happy family through the window and then like doesn't go inside. Where they're like, oh, they're better off without me. I'll never be part of this. That's us now. The rest of the world is like having a delicious Christmas dinner. And we're just like, must be nice. I'll sit here by myself. But we're here. We're alive. Like the stakes are so, or not the stakes. The bar is so fucking low that it's just like, well, at least I'm alive. Like that's the accomplishment for this year.
I wish I could say that this episode of Unsolved Mysteries is going to lift our spirits, but
it is fucking not. It's a bummer. It bummed me out. So you got that to look forward to. All those people that were like, please come back. We miss your cackling. We need your shrill Midwestern voices. Who says nasal A's like Liz? No one. We need Perhaps It's You. You all cried. And we were like, oh, fine, we'll come back. Well, you're going to regret that.
You might.
Because we don't get off to we do talk about some hypnosis today. Okay, first I have a few updates.
All
One update, I think only the Patreon peeps are aware of, that Samantha has a pet donkey now.
Oh, yeah. That is an important update, isn't it? I have a pet donkey. Random. Did you expect that? Bet you didn't.
That is also part of the Perhaps It's You brand. Our new mascot, Alfie the donkey.
Yeah, he's a mini donkey and I adopted him. And I tell the whole story on our Patreon. I think it was at the Riverdale episode.
Yes. So you're going to have to cough up $1 if you want to hear all that. We can't get back into all of it. But there is a donkey now.
There is a donkey.
So his name is Alfie.
There's some Instagram stories I think you could check out if you wanted to
Yeah,
see
that's
some
true.
donkey
He gets his
cuteness.
own highlight, Alfie the donkey. So you can check out cute pics and vids of your favorite podcast mascot. All other podcasts fucking quaking in their boots because they know they're never getting a donkey because they record in like Los Angeles or some shit. Good luck getting a donkey there.
For once in my life, people want my ass pics.
Yeah. I mean, I think people always did, but they were afraid to ask.
Well, nice of you to say.
But now they can ask for Alfie pics. It's a little more wholesome.
It's very
than
wholesome.
just your bare booty.
Yeah, the cutest. So go check him out. And yeah,
yes,
pay $1 and I'll tell you the why I have a donkey.
Yeah, you can hear us. You can hear me fangirl about Riverdale and also learn about Samantha's donkey. This sort of great content we provide people that steal $1 from fountains and send.
It's got to be the most random podcast of all time. Just random.
It's just very driven by our personalities more than the content of Unsolved Mysteries. And the people who like it, they like that. And the people who don't like it, I don't know. They can go fall off a cliff. Don't really care.
They've stopped listening a long time ago.
Yeah, they're really done. They called us ignorant and delusional. And they moved on with their lives, I assume. Okay. Next update is that the zine is done and available. I believe last time we recorded, it was pre-order. No, it's ready, bitch. You can get your hands on it right now. It's $15, free shipping in the US. Quality content there. We've sent out a bunch of them. People seem super happy. If you want to do a Perhaps It's You crossword or make a Perhaps It's You cocktail, you're going to need the zine. It has an illustration of me and Samantha looking at a capybara. Oh my God, now I can't remember his name.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, thank you. Oh, there was just this blank hole in my brain where the word Matthew McConaughey should be.
BD Wong, I bet.
I did. I always want to say BD Wong, and I was like, there's other actors? Yes, and one of them is named Matthew McConaughey. And if you want an illustration of me and Samantha with giant heart eyes looking at Matthew McConaughey holding a capybara, I think there's only one place to get that, and that's our zine.
I don't think there's one place. There is only one place to get that.
And that is the full color centerfold. So you could take that up, you could hang that on the wall of your prison cell and just admire it. Because I assume that's covering the hole that you're digging, Shawshank style. Yeah. That illustration's by Studio Crafty. Thank you, Studio Crafty. It's quite a masterpiece. I've called the Louvre several times, but they haven't called me back. I don't know why. I'm trying to get that in there. Okay, that was one update. Next update is that to celebrate the start of season 6, we have new merch. And you're going, yeah, whatever, Liz. That includes black t-shirts. So it's pretty important. You can get your black t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. now. Yeah. And they have a new illustration by one Brian Duffy, aka Duff, of me, Samantha, and our previous mascot, Robbie Stacky.
He's been replaced by a small donkey, but
yeah, I mean, in the future we might have to get an illustration with a donkey in the middle. But right now it's an inflatable alien. So if you want that, any of that's good stuff, or the zine, go to our website, perhapsitsyou.com, look under merch, and you'll find all of those lovely things.
Hell yeah.
How to order all that crap.
Are there any bracelets left?
I think there might be like 3. So if you want a beaded... Oh, yeah, something on the break that I did for some reason. Look, I don't remember all of my motivations. Was to sell beaded bracelets that fit under the Perhaps It's You brand. And most of them have sold, but I believe I have... Oh, there was no love for Robbie Stacky. That bracelet, at the time of this recording, still available.
All right.
Take a look at our Instagram, see if anything is left. Those are a whole whopping $12. So
someone out there now has a bracelet that just says amnesia, and
and who wouldn't want that?
Questions about that, but I love it.
everybody was like, oh, I want the Marson bracelet. I definitely want the Marson bracelet. And then that did not go that fast. So y'all lied to me. I'm on to you now. You don't actually want to be walking around with a bracelet that says Marson on it. So if you follow my Instagram, which you probably don't, as everybody likes Liz, but you may have seen that as a quarantine craft, I've been making beaded bracelets. I made Samantha one that says Gordon Ramsay, for example. just to pass the time. I actually thought I would never wear them, and I wear them all the time.
I wear mine all the time too.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, whatever.
I think I have
they're fun. They're comfortable.
One too. I switch them out.
Yes. I made you several celebrity crush bracelets. So you have BD Wong, obviously. You have Mothman, and you have Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
My Orville Peck bracelet broke, so I have to make another one because now I just have a bracelet that says "spit in my mouth." So that doesn't work.
You need the matching.
Yeah, I need the. Who is this directed to, Liz? I'm not just walking around with a spit in my mouth bracelet. That's disgusting. It's COVID out there. Was there any other? Oh. Okay. So one last update, unless you have any updates before we get into the. Probably there was more shit I should have talked about. Who knows? Merch. Give us money. Whatever. Our Patreon episodes, while we begun, we did Riverdale, and then we did 2 episodes of the Unsolved Mysteries reboot. I don't remember if that had started. Whatever. There's new reboot episodes on Netflix now. You can go watch them. People are less excited about them than the last batch.
We're still going to cover them in our Patreon series, though. Yeah. We've done the first 2. So if you want, if you're going to cough up $1 to hear the donkey story, you can also get our Unsolved Mysteries reboot content. And we've done the first 2 episodes of the next 6. So we've done episodes 7 and 8, I guess. And
the Washington Insider one and the Murder in Oslo one. Yes. Whatever that one's called. Exactly.
I think it's called A Death in Oslo. Or a Murder in Oslo or something. Anyway, we've done those.
Actually, really like the Washington Insider one. I think there's a lot to talk about with that one. So
yeah, that one was good.
Give us $1 or not, whatever. We don't really care. But on our last episode, when we did listener stories, we also included some celebrity ghost stories. But someone's listener story reminded me of a ghost story from Morrissey's autobiography. But I couldn't quite remember the details, and I said I would get back to everyone about it.
Okay.
So I looked it up. This is actually coming from the Manchester Evening News, but it's an excerpt from his autobiography, which is literally called Autobiography. And he reported that he was driving by the moor with his friends in 1989. This is by the Saddleworth Moor, which is described in the book as a most barren, desolate, desperate place. When he and his friends saw a frightened man run out of the moor, pleading for their car to stop. It was a boy, maybe 18 years. He was totally gray. He had long hair in sort of a 70s style. He wore a small anorak and nothing else.
No pants?
No, he's nude, just wearing a little hooded raincoat.
Could have been that tour guide.
Yes. Okay. So this is what it says. He just emerged from the heather and pleaded to the lights, and we drove past because we all instinctively knew that this was a spirit, and because it had a history of being a place where so many bodies have been dumped and buried. It's not the kind of place you hang around. We went to the phone box in the nearest village and called the police. And the police apparently said, keep an open mind, which is hilarious.
Okay.
Because I feel like they got a few of these calls. So the Saddleworth Moor is also one of the moors from the Moor murders.
Oh.
So that's the Ian Brady and Myra Hindley murders that took place in Manchester, where they were abducting children, murdering them, and burying them in the moor, which would have happened during Morrissey's childhood. So I'm not super surprised that he didn't want to stop
for this
by the moor in the middle of the night
person.
Yes. But the reason this is interesting is because, so this book came out, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago, something like that. And a couple years after that, I went to Manchester and I took a Smiths tour where they take you around and show you like places from the songs and whatever. So So I went and I took this tour from the drummer Craig Gill, and he told me that him and his friends used to prank people by pretending to be ghosts by the morgue. And he thought that this was hilarious and that maybe that is actually what's being referenced in the book. Now, were any of them nude except wearing a raincoat? I don't know. And I can't check because sadly, like a couple years after that, Craig Gill took his own life. So we'll never know. And that's a real bummer because that tour was like one of the best days of my life. He seemed like a really stand-up dude. I'm sorry, Craig. And I hope that he's not haunting the moor now. I hope he's resting peacefully. So that is my update on that. And also, nobody needs to tell me that Morrissey is a bad person. I'm fully aware. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't add us.
Yeah, goddamn. No one is sadder about it than me. Please. Okay. So now I think with that, God, that was a bummer. This episode is a bummer and that story is a bummer. Now I'm sad about Craig.
Well, the idea of him running around pantsless, being like, woo, while his friends like hide in a bush and laugh. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. It's pretty funny that they call the police and the police say, keep an open mind. Because it's like they're saying that's not a person, that's a ghost. Okay, interesting. So we're gonna get into season 6 now. This is the first episode of season 6.
I kind of can't believe we're on season 6.
I know. Didn't we just start this thing? What happened?
Seems like it.
Didn't we just start this on a whim and then it didn't stop for some reason? Well, here we are. It's season 6, episode 1. We've got new credits now. New graphics. Mm-hmm. All the categories like shine out of a bright light, like they're brought to you by God.
They kind of like swoosh off screen. Kind of like
this
like
is like
an effect
state of the art
from Windows Movie Maker or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they paid so much to do that, and now you could do it on your phone with a free app. The first mystery we're going to be talking about is in the unexplained category, where Robert Stack is in the woods and there's crickets chirping, and he asks, "What are you afraid of?" And you go, "I don't know, Stack. What's about to happen?" He's like, "Is it heights?" He's like trying to guess what you're afraid of. And tells us that many of us harbor a secret irrational fear, and that is known as a phobia. We then meet Bruce Kelly from Glendale, California, who had several phobias. He went to college on a full baseball scholarship, I'll have you know. He got married, he got divorced, he was a single parent raising his daughter, but he felt that his phobias were holding him back. And these included flying, enclosed spaces, and water. And his fear of water was so bad that he avoided pools and didn't even like to sit in the bathtub.
Okay, but can we talk about how Robert Stack described his fear of water, which was to say he had a fear of water that was just plain bothersome.
I forgot about that. I mean, it was just plain bothersome because he didn't like the sensation of water rising up around him in the bathtub, which is a pretty severe fear of water.
Yeah.
So out of desperation, he finally sought help from hypnotherapist Rick Brown, who specializes in past life regression. Though Rick Brown tells us that only 1% of people who see him end up spontaneously regressing to a past life, as Bruce did. Rick Brown is a very hard man to take seriously. I don't know if this will mean anything to people, but he looks like the psychiatrist character from The Simpsons, Dr. Marvin Monroe. Like, his beard is coming out like all around his face like a lion mane, but like not really on the chin. I don't know what you call that look. I don't like it. I know that. So, yeah. So he starts seeing this guy, and he immediately remembers being on a submarine, drowning, and that his name was James Edward Johnston. Mm-hmm. He recalls a lot of very specific information, Samantha, including that the sub was the USS Shark, which sounds like something I just made up, but apparently it was the real name of a submarine, that it was sinking near Borneo. He also knew the name of another man on the sub that was dying, Walter Pilgrim. Apparently they both died at 11:34 p.m., February 11, 1942. There were no survivors on the sub. Mm-hmm. He describes these memories as feeling very fresh to him. Like he's not, digging through the clouds of his mind. These under hypnosis came back very, very clear. So he went to the library and he says that he was doing it as almost to prove that it didn't happen. But guess what? He proved that it did.
Wow.
He learned that 53 American subs were lost during World War II, and the first one that sank was the USS Shark.
Oh, damn.
Can you believe it? The first one, the easiest one to look up. His memories were accurate. There was a James E. Johnson on the Q roster. The date was the same, and Walter Pilgrim was also listed.
Wow, this information was readily available in a book.
Yeah. Like, it seems like the first book. Like, if you're like, I'd like to know some, like, very specific details about submarines during World War II, like, this is the book the librarian would hand you. You would open it to the first page of any information, and it would be like, here's the crew roster for the USS Shark. Anyway, over the next 6 months, he saw the hypnotist once a week to recover more memories. That sounds like kind of a lot of cash money to me. I don't know what this is costing, but once a week for 6 months? Okay. He then recovers more memories, such as his mother's death. He also recalls the very bizarro fact that he always ate the end pieces off bread, which I literally wrote down WTF. Okay, do you like those end pieces of bread?
No.
Those heels of bread? No one likes them. They're gross.
Do you call it the butt? We always called it the butt of the bread growing up.
Oh, no, we called it the heel.
I mean, that's the proper term, but we always called it the butt.
I mean, on like an actual, like home baked piece of bread, that's fine. But on like a grocery store bread, that's disgusting.
Yeah, your loaf of Wonder Bread, you do not typically enjoy the butt.
No, but apparently he loved them, and he also remembered his birthday. Okay, he remembered being part of a work program during the First Depression, and also that his first love was named Molly. He had asked her to run away with her, and she was like, yeah, no, and ran off.
At this point in the reenactment and in this segment, did you get to the point where you were like, I get it? Like, really? Yeah. There's a moment where they're on a bridge and he's asking her to run away with him, but she's afraid of her father because she thinks her father is going to kill him because her father doesn't approve of their love. And then she runs away and he never sees her again. I'm like, okay.
It's a lot.
I get it. This is also a movie.
It also sounds way made up. Like, if you were asking me to make up a story about love in the past, I would be like, I don't know, their father doesn't approve, and so she runs off and he never sees her again. Like, it's just the most cliche old-time love story I've ever heard. But of course, research proved the memories to be accurate. At this point, I just wrote down, I hate the hypnotist's beard. Now we get to the part where they film him going to James's hometown. So we see his like childhood home from a past life or whatever. And he could remember where the bedroom was, but look, it's not a big house. That's not really that impressive to me. It's like, there's a room in that house. Yeah, bitch. Okay. He also remembered that he always used the back door. Like, he wasn't good enough to use the front door for some reason. I don't know why. Because it's like a crappy house, but...
Well, they said it was because they were poor and his mother had him out of wedlock. But, like, do they live with someone else?
Yeah, I was like, so did they all use the back door?
It seemed like they made him use the back door because he was, like, a bastard child or something. I don't fully understand. This relative of the guy confirms it later, but I don't understand why. Like, do they live with someone else?
I don't know.
Why did his mom make him use the back door? Because she had him out of wedlock. I don't get it. I guess
it seems like a very bitchy move.
I guess his mom, maybe he lived with someone else because his mom had died. They don't explain this. It makes no sense.
No. Yeah, maybe he's no longer living with his mom by the point he has to use the back door in shame, in his bastard shame.
I guess.
I don't know. So then, I consider this an odd choice. They went to go meet people who had known Johnston as a boy, and I was kind of like, bold.
It's bizarre because this whole segment, I've been like, how does this man's family feel about this random guy deciding to go on Unsolved Mysteries and talk about his mom's death, like his death, his
right
romance? Like, who is this guy?
Well, now we get to find out. So one of the people he meets would be Johnston's cousin Betty, who was there when his mom died in his memory. And she does ask him about the weird bread thing. So maybe that makes it true. She was like, "Do you remember anything about bread?" And he was like, "Yeah, I love the gross part of bread that you just throw away or maybe put outside and squirrels eat it." And she was like, "He did too."
There's a Unsolved Mysteries camera in your face, and she's like, "So, do you have a memory about bread?"
That's her question. Not anything else about this. Is this his defining characteristic? That he ate a stupid part of bread?
Or it's scripted, but I am a skeptic.
Okay. So he says he doesn't know for sure if he is Johnston reincarnated or he just has a lot of access to information about him. And then his cousin does confirm that he always used the back door. Okay. I don't know.
This also felt like this man's real life family are in front of you, and they're like, "So do you think you're the reincarnation of our cousin?" And he's like, I'm not sure. I do get this question a lot. I just feel like I have this connection, and for some reason I have all this information. Like, okay, guy. This is just real awkward.
It's very awkward, but also you can see that these old people are kind of hopeful that he is the reincarnation of their cousin because, look, they're going to die soon, and they want to come back as somebody else.
Well, and they don't actually know how he died.
One kind of says that. Yeah. They know that he died, like, with the sub, I think.
I mean,
I don't think they know they know he was on that sub. They know the sub went down. I don't know that they know the particulars beyond that, but in a way, like, what else is there to know? They were acting like that was a big mystery, and I was like, it seems pretty well confirmed. First sub lost in World War II, no survivors. Yeah, like him remembering water coming up and stuff like that. I was like, you could just, that's how you would imagine a sub going down. It's not like something so weird happened,
Yeah.
I don't know. He then says he's not afraid of death as most people, and that he believes that death is not the end. And then at the very end, Robert Stack is like, there's only one way to confirm this. We need to hear from Molly, his lost love, even though she would be like 90 some years old at this point. And guess what? They never do.
Confirm that she actually existed. So that's what they're trying to find her.
Also, it doesn't seem like his family knew anything about that.
You would think they would know.
It does, to me, really seem like this might be some implanted memories from the hypnotist, but maybe not. Maybe this guy is the reincarnated dude who loved the heels of bread. And I guess that's more believable than, like, everyone being like, I'm Cleopatra. Like, everybody wants to be someone important. This guy picked just kind of a nobody. So there's that.
That's true. I guess I somehow missed the fact that the hypnotist specializes in past life regressions. I didn't hear that in the episode. That bit of information seems significant.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's like the only hypnotist in his town. I'm not quite sure why, to work on phobias, he went to a hypnotist that specializes in past life regression, unless he already suspected that his phobias were the result of something that had happened in a past life.
Maybe. Or maybe you just need a side gig if you're a hypnotist. Like, how many people want a past life regression versus how many people want to quit smoking?
Right. He's like, well, that's not going to pay the bills. I got to do more than one thing. Yeah, maybe. Which fair. What should I get hypnotized for?
Well, I guess I would be interested to know if you had a past life.
Yeah, I guess we could find out if I was also on this submarine.
Yeah. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Would it be funny if you were on the submarine?
It's like, oh, I was on the USS Shark. I know all about it.
Maybe you were Molly.
Maybe. That's why she never got back in touch. She died and became me. Now makes this podcast. I'm not feeling a lot of connection to this story, so I don't think I'm Molly. But I guess I won't know until a hypnotist implants those memories.
Yeah, you won't.
I mean, this segment is surprisingly long.
It's so long. It's so
There's
long.
lots of reenactments of I'm sure they spend a lot of money to make it look like a sub was sinking, but there's not a ton to the story, really.
Well, there's a whole side quest to this hometown, and it really takes a long time to get through. And then there's a super long, unnecessary update about a fucking depressing case from last
Okay,
season.
we get an unnecessary update about the DeCloud cult, and the only thing that's good about it is that you see. So remember that a woman was like saved by that satellite repair guy. Well, they're still together, and they're like walking across a hill, holding hands, wearing the most like '90s outfits you ever saw, and it looks like something that's a joke, but young people, it's not. We used to have this thing where we just were sincere and we didn't really think about it, and that's what it looked like.
You want to see
it's hard to imagine. I watch a lot of music videos, and sometimes I'm watching music videos from this time, and I'm like, it would be very hard to convince someone younger than me that this is not a joke, that people thought this was just. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool.
You should try that out on Arden. See if she
I know.
Joke.
I know.
Okay.
Hi, Arden.
All right, should we get this next one over with?
Yeah, this is brutal. I hate it.
It's horrible. This is a wanted. This opening is pretty cool. There's the new like transition text over the Chicago skyline. It kind of swoops out.
Yes.
But other than that,
Chicago, it's a city. Heard of it? Robert Stack's here to tell you. It's by a lake.
But we're actually not talking about Chicago proper. We are talking about something that
happened.
Oh,
we are. Nogan Square is a neighborhood in Chicago. I used to live there many moons ago, and it was not nearly as expensive as it is today. Yes, it is just a neighborhood.
All right, so we're talking about the death of 11-year-old Pedro Santiago Jr., who was a fifth grader and a son of Pedro Sr. and Edith Santiago. He was born and raised in Logan Square, which is a neighborhood in Chicago, as Liz said, which you said that you lived in. And you actually recognize part of.
And I recognize where this reenactment takes place, and I hate it. It made it extra sad.
Yeah, this is a really bummer of a segment. But as a result of living in this neighborhood in Chicago his whole life, he knew the area like the back of his hand, and he felt safe there and would often, walk to friends' houses and things like that. He was popular with his peers, a good student, and a talented athlete. By the age of 11, he had already earned a black belt in karate.
I mean, as an 11-year-old, that is a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine getting a black belt in karate, or any belt in karate, really.
No, not at all.
On
Good job, Pedro.
12th, 1990, Pedro came home from school and called Edith at work to fill her in on his plans for the afternoon. He told her that he was going to go across the street to play with his friend Eric. Shortly after 3 p.m., he left his home. At the same time, 2 neighborhood teenagers were walking back from the corner market. These dudes have some excellent, oversized, very 90s coats going on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, the fashion in this one's pretty good. That's the only good thing I can say about it. Suddenly, as he walked into the street, he was hit by a black Oldsmobile. The teenagers witnessed the incident and ran to his aid. One of the witnesses are interviewed by Unsolved Mysteries and is like blacked. It's like in shadow for his safety. But he said he had never seen anything like that, and at first didn't even think it was real. But when he kind of snapped out of it and realized what he had just witnessed, him and his friend immediately ran to render aid. The driver got out and started to swear and hit his car in anger.
Very believable.
One of the teenagers went to call an ambulance while the other stayed with Pedro, but seconds later, the driver jumped back into his car and took off. A few minutes later, an ambulance arrived and took Pedro to the emergency room. The hospital's chaplain immediately contacted Edith, and their whole family rushed to the hospital. He was unconscious and suffering from massive head injuries. His family did get a few moments to say touch him and comfort him and give him a kiss, but they had to rush him to the operating room. The reenactment is brutal. Imagining this poor family getting one last moment with their unconscious son, knowing what comes next. It's really super duper sad. So Pedro
hate it.
hung on for what Robert Stack calls 10 agonizing days, but he never regained consciousness. He was buried the day after Christmas.
Ugh, that poor family.
I know, it's awful. With his death, the hit and run incident escalated to a case of manslaughter. The police put out an all points bulletin for the car's owner, who was a Cuban immigrant known on the streets as Kachimba.
It's very interesting that they knew who this hit and run driver was, and clearly that's why they have that one teenager in shadow, is because when he gets out of the car and is like throwing a temper tantrum, they're like, "Oh shit, it's that guy."
We know who he
Like
is.
he's like known in the neighborhood. Yeah.
When the police failed to find this dude, Pedro Sr. decided to go on a search of his own. He went to several bars and other places in Chicago asking people if they knew Kachimba. They told him that he had left the area around Christmas. One guy said that he even came to him and asked for money because he had to like get out of town. And he ended up giving him $100. And when Pedro Sr. asked why he was in such a hurry to leave, the man said, "I don't know. All I know is that he was in some trouble with the police," which I'm guessing is because he hit a kid and killed him.
Yeah.
He told one person that he was planning to go to New York, but he told another person that he was going to Florida. He gave this information. Pedro Sr. gave this information to the police, but despite this, he has never been found. Pedro's parents still hope that the man will be located. Police have not charged him with a crime, but they would like to question him about the incident. His real name is Gerardo Gonzalez, and he is 5'8" and weighs approximately 160 pounds, or he did at the time. He may be living in New York, Florida, Michigan, or Illinois. Not super helpful. I feel like he could also be out of the country, but there is no update, so we have no idea.
I hate it.
If there's any plus side to this, just be happy that we didn't watch the original episode, because the original episode aired alongside what Unsolved Mysteries Wiki calls a roll call of hit and run cases. This episode aired with 3 other hit and run cases as well. So thank you whoever edited this for streaming for only including one of the hit and run cases, I guess. That sounds... I don't think
this made me cry.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Super sad.
So obviously this guy was connected. He was well known. Yeah, he possibly left the country. I mean, yeah, Pedro.
It's super sad. And it's not even like you got a nice walk down memory lane, because you
I
got a neighborhood, but it's in the context of the kid side.
I got a bad walk down memory lane, and look, jaywalking is a way of life, and I will not stop. And please don't hit pedestrians.
I got the impression that this guy was going way too fast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't think...
And it's a residential neighborhood. There's no reason to be like zipping around and running over children. That's just rude. So sad.
Extremely.
And he just had to die the day after Christmas. I don't know. That's just...
Yeah. Wow. So for the rest of the family's life, they get to associate Christmas with their son's death.
With their dead son. That's great.
Happy holidays!
Okay. Now we get a lost love, which also involves children. So, hey. Okay.
Bummer too.
Yeah, it is. So we're in Woodward, Oklahoma. This goes all the way back to April 9th, 1947. So at this time, there was actually a telephone operator strike, which cut this town off from the rest of the world. And they were unaware of a very serious incoming tornado, which ended up pretty much decimating the town. It injured 100 people. It killed 100 people. And from the footage we see, it destroyed a lot of homes and businesses. It was clearly like a really serious storm. So this is the story of Joan Gay Croft, who was only 4 years old at the time. She went missing after the storm and has not been seen since. So she grew up in one of the town's most prominent families. We see a reenactment of them all having dinner in this like super nice shishi house. Her father was apparently a successful sheep rancher. Who knew there was so much money in that? And Joan is remembered as being a bashful mama's girl. She would like hide in her mom's skirt when other people came over and stuff like that. I mean, how many memories can you really have of someone that was 4?
Right.
So sad. So we hear from a bunch of witnesses about how bad the storm was. It apparently lasted from like 4 to 5 minutes, and it seemed like forever, and people were just like stuck in their house watching their like whole town get ruined. This then goes to a reenactment of the town hospital, which is surrounded by all these people who are either like injured or dead or dying. So it's just a hospital, and then the lawn out front is like all these people moaning or stepping over dead bodies. Unfortunately, Joan Gay's mother died in the storm. So she was at so her aunt goes to look for her, and she's in the hospital basement with her sister, but has a piece of wood that has been driven into her leg. So this is their Aunt Ruthie. So she goes and finds the girls. They're like gonna be okay. They're in the hospital basement, but her mother actually got pretty seriously injured and had to be taken to a larger hospital. So she goes away with her mom to get her like settled into the hospital, and then gets like, I think, kind of roped into taking care of other patients because things are so chaotic. So
They
she
were
doesn't get
overwhelmed,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, so she doesn't get back to the local hospital until the next morning, and by the time she gets back, Jonah's gone. Her sister is still there and says that some men she didn't know came and took her. They said they were taking her to a hospital in Oklahoma City, but no hospital in the area had any record of her. Um, the witnesses there said that the men specifically asked for the Croft children, but then only took one of them. Unfortunately, there's very few pictures of Joan that survived the storm. They're all kind of grainy. She was only 4, so who knows like how good her memory would be of her life, before this abduction. So
Right.
one of the clues would be that she would probably have a scar on her leg from where it was impacted by this wood, but that's it. She was never found. Unsolved Mysteries Wiki tells us that several people watched this broadcast and thought that they might be Joan, but then that was actually ruled out by DNA comparing it to their family.
I know there was,
So
and I wish I could remember the specific case, but I know there was a missing child case that in an earlier season of Unsolved Mysteries where they thought perhaps,
yes.
but it ended up not being. But I remember there was a connection to this segment.
Yes, you are correct. So let me take a look here at Unsolved Mysteries Wiki that we could not live without. So all this, I do remember there was a specific case that they tied into it. It's not actually listed here. It just says that after the broadcast, several women came forward believing they may be Joan Gay. However, DNA testing with their biological relatives has shown otherwise. Recently, her cousin Marvella resubmitted her DNA in hopes, in fact, finding a match in the CODIS system. Which, how great a name is Marvella?
I know, that's beautiful.
That's a great name. So it doesn't look like Joan Gay was ever found. Um, People in the segment, including her Aunt Ruth, have since passed away.
It's so
It's
weird. I mean,
it's strange.
you
So
gotta wonder what's going on here. Did someone take advantage of the chaos following this event to abduct a little girl? Like, what is going on? Like, it's so almost random.
yeah, so the speculation was that perhaps she was wanted for ransom since she was from a wealthy family. However, there's never a ransom call.
Right.
So that seems to sort of rule that out. It's possible that she was kidnapped for some sort of child selling ring, like we've seen with Georgia Tan and Ethel Nation, but we don't have any evidence of that. It seems strange that they wanted this particular child.
Right, they asked for her by name, so it's
Right, which is why the people at the hospital, like, all this chaos is going on. These men come in, they seem to know what they're talking about. They didn't think of anything of it until her aunt came back and it was like, "What the hell are you talking about?
yeah.
Where is this kid?" And they're like, "Oh, weren't you aware she was being taken to this hospital?" Like, "No." It's sad.
Yeah, very.
And, I don't know. If you're freaked out by tornadoes, I guess this will be freaky.
I am a little freaked out by tornadoes. It's not like I have a phobia where I need to be hypnotized, but my one and only recurring dream is I always have dreams about tornadoes.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't
they're
know
always
that.
different, always slightly different, but it always features a tornado.
I mean, if you've never, if you don't live in an area with tornadoes, maybe you're not. They are eerie. The
Yes.
sky turns a weird color. You can kind of tell that something bad is coming in a way that you wouldn't think would be like natural.
Yeah, it gets
Like it
everything
gets
gets
very
very still,
quiet.
which is
Yeah, yeah.
you
You're
don't
like
associate
it's
stillness with a tornado, but everything gets super still and silent. And then yeah, the sky is like green. And then
yeah. It is very bizarre
yeah,
if you think about it. Which I don't really, because it's just like a fact of life. But
right.
then when I was leaving New Mexico to move back to the Midwest, everybody was like, "What about tornadoes? Aren't you worried about tornadoes?" And I was like, "Not really.
I mean,
Don't really
there's
think about them."
no point
But
in
but
worrying about them.
yeah, but if that's not part of your life, it's like that seems terrible. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I
It
guess
is
it's partially
pretty
because
bizarre.
we have like we don't have to deal with hurricanes, right? In Minnesota, we don't
Right,
have to deal with
right.
wildfires. So in comparison, a tornado seems like so benign to me. But yeah, if you haven't been through one, I mean, it's scary, and I have sort of been through them. I haven't like seen a tornado, but
There was that tornado coming through your house earlier this year
I
where
think
you were
I'm
making cookies.
really close. There was no
You were
touchdown.
making cookies. And I was playing Animal Crossing, going, "Do I really have to go in my basement? Please say no."
I did end up going in the basement, and then, of course, my husband is, like, in the backyard watching it, and he said he saw some rotation. It was pretty freaky, and it did the same storm did produce a tornado, to the east of us, but we got lucky. That was the closest I ever came, but, yeah, I did get my cookies, though, so that was
That's the important part.
well, yeah. I mean, what am I gonna do about a tornado? I might as well finish the cookies.
This year has really shown us what our priorities are, I think, and cookies top of the list.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not, that is the end of the episode.
That's it.
There's not like a ton to talk about in this one. It's just kind of a bummer plus hypnosis, which I guess is how you could sum up Unsolved Mysteries.
Did you watch the preview for the next episode, though? Because I think we have a paranormal, like, alien one in the next
Ooh,
episode.
yes, we do.
So
So stay tuned for a special possible abduction of a whole plane. I'm not really sure.
yeah.
Something involves aircraft. Okay, so something we do on this podcast, as you may or not be aware, is we rate the episode
We
out
sure
of
do.
5 Robert Stacks. So, what is our first category to rate?
Our first category is mysteriousness.
I guess this is kind of mysterious because we don't know what happened to Joan Gray. We don't really. I guess we know who killed Pedro, but where the hell did that motherfucker go? And
Mysterious.
did he ever get his comeuppance? And I don't know that this hypnosis one is that mysterious, but Unsolved Mysteries Wiki does list it as unsolved.
In that case, I guess I would give it a thumbs up for mysterious.
I would give it a thumbs up, yeah. Okay, next category.
Reenactments.
Actually decent. The submarine ones were good.
There was some production value that went into it.
Yeah. The like hospital surrounded by people moaning was pretty good. I don't know. The Pedro ones were sad.
But
I mean,
that was
fine.
really well done. Yeah, I'll give it a
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a reluctant thumbs up.
Fashion is our next category.
I feel like pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm giving that a
liked
thumbs
it.
up.
I like
We
it.
get some like 40s fashion a couple of times. We get some very 90s fashion. Yeah, you mentioned those really oversized coats. Even that unnecessary update has got some of the best fashion we've seen. So thumbs up.
Thumbs up. And then Robert Stack, I feel like he broke out some new lines in this.
Yeah, he was waxing extra poetic. We don't see a ton of him, but I feel like the voiceovers are extra good.
Yeah, so I liked it. I liked Robert Stack.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
How
Now
would
on
you rate this?
You know,
On a Robert Stack scale, 5 Robert Stacks being the ultimate best, you can't do any better. 1 Robert Stack being I wish I was dead instead of watching this episode.
I gotta go with like a 2.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3, but that's kind of even generous. It's just sad, and
It's
there
kind
wasn't
of
a ton to talk
short.
about.
We only get 3 mysteries, and they could have easily put in another mystery if they would have just not done that. Basically, replayed the whole segment. That cult guy.
Yes. Yes.
And I hate that segment, so we got to see that again. So yeah, I'm feeling like a 2.5.
2.5. I think it's fair because I mean, I'm glad we didn't get a whole reel of various hidden runs. Do you remember when they used to sell? Oh, this is really gonna date me. They used to sell VHS tapes of bloopers, like sports
I do
bloopers,
remember that.
or like TV's most outrageous bloopers.
Yeah,
The idea
because
of
you didn't have
having
YouTube, so you couldn't find
right,
funny, like, videos of people
right.
falling down just anywhere. You had to
Right.
get a
If you
VHS
wanted
tape.
to see someone accidentally swear on a game show, you had to buy a fucking VHS that was being sold on late night TV. But the idea of having like 3 back-to-back hidden runs just was like, we've got them all here, folks. Only $24.95 plus shipping and handling. All the best hidden run footage. Like, it's just gross.
No thanks. And I
No.
do feel like this episode could have gotten a 3 if it was, like, later in the season, but Unsolved Mysteries opens season 6 with a dead kid. Ugh.
Possibly 2 dead kids?
Ugh.
A dead kid and a missing kid?
And a way too
Like, that
long hypnosis
that
segment.
poor family, so they lose at least the mom. They might have lost other people. So, like, one person's dead, one person's missing. There's a
Couldn't
scene
be
I
their
didn't talk about
phones
where
are
there's a
destroyed.
dead kid at the funeral home that hadn't been identified, so they assumed it was her, and then they brought the clothes, and the guy at the funeral home was like, "These clothes are too big. This is clearly not the child you're looking for." But, like, how fucking heart-wrenching was that? And then they just, like, never find her. Yeah. I don't think this is a great way to start off season 6. It did not make me enthusiastic to start recording again. It's like,
This
well,
is no Clown Alley.
no. Oh, I wish. Oh, that gives me such a good idea for a Patreon reward, though.
Oh, does
Who
it?
wants some Clown Alley stationery? You can write to your loved ones from Clown Alley. You know you want
We
it.
need some clown stationery. I think that would be
Ew. Ew.
But then you'd have to
No
keep it in your
clown
house.
anything.
Yeah, you'd have to keep it in your house. Unless Teespring can
Um,
drop ship some clown stationery.
I mean, I could keep it in a drawer. It's fine. And also, no trying to convince me that the Clown Motel is a like fun place. Fuck that.
We've heard
No.
from a few people who really love the Clown Motel, and y'all, I'm happy for you. You know, you like what
Yeah.
you like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, whatever, but I can't relate. I can't relate.
We're not here to kink shame or whatever the non-sexual version of that is, which is liking the Clown Motel, but no.
You
Pass,
do you,
strong pass from me. Yeah, whatever makes you happy in these dark times, but my invitation, if you are inviting me to the Clown Motel, I am declining forever. It's a permanent no. Absolutely not. I cherish my life and my eyeballs. I don't want to see that. You know how like 90s horror movies were always like, some things you see, you can't unsee. That's how I feel about the Clown Motel. Once my eyeballs take in that information, that's never leaving my brain.
Yeah, no.
So, no.
No.
Which also reminds me that at some point for Patreon, we are doing my favorite movie to hate watch, 8mm. Oh, that's going to be so fun.
See, we watch these things and I really want to watch it like together.
I know!
But we can't because of fucking Corona. Ugh.
The plague is very inconvenient. And I feel like when we learned about plagues in school, it was all like death and rats and whatever. People didn't mention it was just a nuisance. Super inconvenient for everyone.
Really true.
All right. I think that brings us towards the end of our show. It's now recommendation time.
Hell yeah. What are you going to recommend?
I'm going to recommend some more Shirley Jackson content for everyone.
Ooh, okay.
As you recall, we previously had recommended the book, Haunting of Hill House. I did watch the show, which everybody told me to watch, and it was pretty good. I did enjoy it. It's very spooky. There's a lot of like family drama Okay, whatever. I feel like the haunted house aspects, yes, I'm totally on board with. And the yes, since this is a Baraska fan podcast, the woman that wrote Baraska writes for that show. And there's a certain twist on there that I guarantee she is responsible for, and it's very, very good.
Okay.
And I was like, aha, I know that. That just has her all over it. So that was enjoyable. But my recommendation is actually the movie We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is based on a Shirley Jackson book I haven't read, I'll admit right now. It came out on Netflix a couple years ago, and I just finally got around to watching it, and I really enjoyed it. So that is my recommendation. It is about a sort of eccentric family living in a big house that's hated by the town, and you slowly find out why and what's going on there. Also, Crispin Glover is in it, which is always a pleasant surprise. The house is beautiful. I would never leave that house either. That kitchen, mwah, I want it for myself. The paint colors in the house, just lovely. So good. But yeah, it's the tiniest bit funny, but it's very well acted and well done. I really enjoyed it. So that is something to make you, I don't know, thankful you paid Netflix this month if you want to watch that.
Well, and your Netflix bill's going up, so.
Yeah. Though there's different tiers. I only just noticed this, that you can get crappy Netflix for $9, and then it depends how many people you want to be able to watch at one time. They figured out that everybody's sharing their codes, right? Yeah. So you can get one stream at a time, not high def, for $9. So that may be of interest to you. But yeah, it is going up $1, I think. Oh. And then there's some premium plan where you can stream it on a bunch of things at the same time for $17, something ridiculous.
Hang on a second.
That's Samantha's dogs outraged by the Netflix price increase.
I'm not even sure there's anyone at the door. I just think they're barking at nothing. Hey, can you stop? Yeah,
they're barking at high prices, Samantha. They said, this is a pandemic. It's not the time to raise the price of Netflix. We all need you. This should be a public utility, they say.
And I agree with them. I bark in
Okay, I'm not going to say too much about the movie because I think you do need to be surprised. So if you're in for something kind of moody with good sets, good acting, a little bit creepy, not gory though, We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
Nice. Solid recommendation.
What are you going to recommend?
I'm going to recommend a podcast that I listened to over our break, and that I really, really liked. I'm enamored with this podcast, I have to say. I'm going to read you the description of it because I feel like I'm not going to be able to accurately describe it because it's kind of bizarre. So I'm recommending The Renner Files.
Okay.
And this is the description of this podcast. The Renner Files is a new kind of true crime podcast, one that is not about true crime at all. Instead, it's about Jeremy Renner's ill-fated app. Jeremy Renner, the actor who you might know from Hawkeye,
right. Yeah. Yes.
From the Marvel universe. Why did Oscar-nominated actor Jeremy Renner ever have an app? What did it do? Who made it? Who used it? And why did it shake the internet to its core? Hosts Caroline Goldfarb and Sarah Ramos set out to investigate the mystery of the app, but got so much more in return. The Renner Files tells a larger story, one about the dangerous side of celebrity fandom, the ethics of audience exploitation, the celebrity influencer complex, and the destructive power of ironic internet comedy. This podcast is fucking hilarious. I will say it took me a minute to kind of get used to the narration because the hosts, they clearly have it scripted out and they're reading off of a script, and they have a very specific delivery that might not be for everyone. And it wasn't for me at first, but as I listened to a couple episodes, I really fell in love with it because they're so funny. Very rarely do I laugh out loud listening to podcasts, even comedy podcasts. This one is hilarious. And they go through this whole into this whole world that I never even knew existed of these celebrity vanity app projects. They talk about the app that Kim Kardashian had.
I remember that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was really successful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's so funny. And also, if you would enjoy two hilarious women just mercilessly donking on Jeremy Renner, who is this very generic just ridiculous man. It's so good. It's so good. At one point, he was in like Jeep commercials singing. It's so weird and so funny. And all of the episodes are out now. I think there's 6 episodes total, so you can binge the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I can't recommend it enough. So funny and so
What
different.
would the Perhaps It's App do? The Perhaps It's App, as it would be called.
App.
I feel like there would be a photo filter that would add Robbie Stackey to all your photos.
Oh yeah, and like some glitter and like hearts and stuff.
Yeah, it would give you heart eyes.
Mhm.
Or maybe it would add BD Wong to like photobomb your photos.
There would be
or
like a inspirational quote generator. We've talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be good. If it says it's by Osho, when it's like the salmonella of your salmonella is pure of the salmonella. Yes, inspirational quote generator. That would be great. I feel like what else? I feel like
You
there's
can
probably
do
a lot.
just about anything. Did you know I think it's Tom Hanks has like a typewriter app that you can just like hear the sound of a typewriter
What?
because he just like loves typewriters. It's so weird. And of course, all of these apps get you to pay money, right? Like that's what is
Sure.
behind them. They're like just trying to like exploit you for like, yeah, your love of
Okay,
attention.
ours would. I mean, it would connect you to all the social media stuff, but it would also allow you to order cheesies in the United States.
Yeah,
And polar water.
no matter where you live.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. There'd be a button that's just me swearing that you could push. I feel like this would be a pretty good app, actually. Probably better than the Runner app.
Oh, 100% better than the Runner app.
There could be a thing where Samantha recommends books to you.
Yeah. A daily book recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into this now.
Sounds cool, not useless and exploitative.
It'd be like the zine, but an app. Yeah, totally. Okay, that sounds hilarious. I am intrigued. And I think we all need some more podcast recommendations right now because I don't know if you're in a place if you're in a place with winter, it's gonna be real long. Okay. Really, I'm just gonna sit around finding out if we ever get another fucking season of Nebraska. Am I saying that because I'm staring at my stupid Nebraska poster right now as I'm recording this? Yes, but goddamn, I want that to happen. I read like 3. Okay. Nebraska was written by a person named Rebecca Klingel, who goes by the pen name C.K. Walker. And she had 3 collections of short stories, and one of them had Nebraska in them. So over the break, I think I read all 3 of those. And I don't know that I like full out recommend it, but look, it's just been on my mind. If you want to read a ton of stories where a child finds something horrifying and then only as an adult realizes what that actually means, those are the stories for you.
Okay.
I'm not sure what happened to this person. I'm slightly concerned. They're all like either, like a child finds something and it's like, and then as an adult, I realized that actually that was my dead so-and-so. Or it's like, child does something and then, as an adult, it's like, oh, that's what that really means. Right. I don't know. A lot of trauma. Sure. I can hear your dog whimpering. Your dog saying, please end this podcast.
For some reason, they think it's dinner time. They have been...
It's because it gets dark so early. How much daylight are we trying to save? Haven't we saved enough? It'll be like 6. And I'll be like, well, surely it's midnight. And no, Liz, you haven't even had dinner. It's 6 p.m.
And the sun also sets super fast. I realize it's always been this way my whole life. But still, I swear it'll be like 3:50, I'll blink, and then it'll be completely dark.
Yeah, so your dogs are like, it's dinner time. Because they don't understand daylight savings any more than we do.
That's true. Yeah, they can't tell.
All right. Let's wrap this up. So we are still on the social medias, Twitter, Instagram. We have a Facebook group. We have several Facebook groups.
We have 3 Facebook groups now, y'all.
That's how powerful
our book Facebook.
Yeah, we've got a book recommendations Facebook group. We've got an Animal Crossing Facebook group. We got a normal one because that's how powerful this podcast is. It's a media behemoth. If you wanted to contact us, maybe send us a spooky tale, something that happened to you, a time you saw a naked man in an anorak by the moor. That's Perhaps It's You podcast at gmail.com. Or it's also psychic dreams. We would love to hear about your psychic dreams.
Tell us about that.
What else do we talk about? So Patreon. You got to give us
$1.
$1. If you give us $1, we'll send you a postcard, and then you get to hear an episode every month. If you give us $5, we'll send you some stickers, and then you get a coloring sheet every month. And if you send us $10 because you're richy rich, you will get all of that stuff. But then you also get a quarterly gift, and those gifts are pretty sweet. Gotta say, awesome. Best deal on Patreon. I feel like we never tell people to subscribe to this podcast, but you should do that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We're really bad at podcasting, as it turns out.
I feel like we never ever say that. We just assume that you do because the quality of this content is so good. And you go, this is 5 out of 5 Robert Stacks right here. So yeah, subscribe and also leave us a 5-star review. The only type of review we accept. Other reviews are garbage to us. We will not accept them. They will be rejected by the algorithm because I have a special deal with, I don't know, Al Gore. So I think that's everything. We have a website. There's stuff there.
Oh, yeah, perhapsyou.com. That's where you can find our merch. Go there.
Yes, because you want to wear a black sweatshirt with me and Samantha and Robbie Stacky on it. You know that you do.
This winter. Yeah.
It's winter. You want it. Also, you can get a mug to drink your hot chocolate out of. Yes. We have everything you'll ever need. Look forward to the Perhaps It's You app, which will have cocktail recipes and book recommendations. And we'll tell you how to stream various B.D. Wong movies.
This is the perfect app. Delete everything else on your phone. All you need is this.
It helps you take fake UFO photos. It tells you if an Ogopogo is nearby. There's a special alert.
You're walking down the street and it's just like Ogopogo sighting in your area.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Who wouldn't buy this app? Who wouldn't buy it?
Probably a lot of people. But...
No! I refuse to believe it. We're so popular. We're so, like 5 people were literally like, please record more episodes. Come back. And only one of those people was my mom. So
you gotta give the people what they want.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Solve mysteries or don't, but keep barking.
Bye.
Bye.